So we want to talk to you guys about a situation we went through and a lesson that we learned. And we want to talk about the importance of trusting the process. And we're going to talk about that coming up.
Stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Talib.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between. Well, you guys, we wanted to actually come to you all because, again, we are an open book. We just recently had an experience, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to share this with you guys because I believe that it's a lesson out of it because we truly received something from it. So recently, Talib is now home full time, but for a while now I have been wanting to redecorate and kind of reorganize and reconfigure our home office. And in that redecorating comes new desk, right? So it's two of us, we need two desks. And my type A personality, in a sense, I kind of have I need kind of the exact same identical desk side by side, just so it can kind of look very cohesive. And so I was searching on Marketplace. If you guys have not shopped on Marketplace, on Facebook, yes. If you guys have not shopped on Marketplace on Facebook, give it a try because we have purchased some really nice things and we've also sold some things on there. But anyway, so I saw this beautiful glass desk that a particular gentleman had, and he actually had 3 of them. And so I reached out to him and he said, actually I sold one, so I just have 2 left. I said, great. I said, I would like to come and see those 2 that you have left. He said, no problem, I can meet you tomorrow. You can come to my warehouse. I'll be there at 1 o'clock and fine, I'll meet you. So I reached back out to him. I said, okay, I looked you up. You're about 50 minutes away from me, about a 45, 50-minute drive. I need for you to make sure that you reach out to me if somebody does end up coming to purchase these desks because I don't want to take this drive. And you do have 2, correct? He said, yes, I do have 2, correct. And I also have some black desks that you may want to look at. No, don't worry. You're the only one that has committed, and I'll hold them for you. Fine. So the next day comes, we're about to leave out, and so I actually sent him a text. I said, hey, we're on our way. He said, fine, I'll see you in just a little bit. So we get there, we park the car. It's truly a warehouse, right? Of where they sell different items there. So what I later found out, I actually saw a vehicle. There was almost like one of those, I don't want to give the name brand, but it was like a junk truck, okay? Where people go and clean out different office spaces and things like that, and they either disperse it or they sell it. And so it looks like that's probably what he does because this warehouse was full of different office furniture. So before we can even really get out of the car good, he comes out, he says, you just want a 1 desk, right? And I looked at him, I said, no, I asked you for 2, and you told me that you were gonna hold them. Don't worry, and I told you to make sure that you let me know if somebody does come. Well, ma'am, I didn't know that you wanted 2 desks. I can't just hold desks. And it was the way he was talking to me, it kind of made me shut down a little bit because I felt like it was disrespectful and how he kind of turned the tables. Because I do understand that when you're selling things online, you can't really hold things for people because you don't know if they're gonna come. But in this case, he told me that he would hold them and I assured him that I was coming and if somebody came to reach out to me, which he didn't. So we went inside of the place. I saw the desk and it was exactly the desk that I really wanted for our office, but there was only one. And so Talib, my husband, looked at me, he said, we don't have to buy it, right? But I was silent because I was upset, I was angry, I was frustrated. I'm like, he just played me, but at the same time, Ty, do you let your guards down or do you just say, no, deuces, fine. If you did that, you can keep your desk, right? And I said, no, I want the desk. And so we purchased the desk. You could tell that he kind of started seeming like he kind of felt a little bit bad, when you were putting the desk inside of our car, our vehicle. But as we drove off, I was silent the entire ride home. Silent. I could barely say 2 words because I was very upset. I'm like, how could you do that? Now, how in the world am I going to be able to find an exact identical desk? Maybe I'm just going to have to kind of find something for me that's different. And you were so sweet. You were like, you want to go to IKEA? You want me to take you to IKEA? I'm like, no, that's okay. I just want to get home. So to make a long story short, fast forward about 2 to 3 weeks later. What do I see when I go on Marketplace? First, I asked the gentleman, I said, hey, do you get any more of these desks in? He said, no, this is like a fluke type thing because they purchase things, by cleaning out offices and stuff. Guys, I get on Marketplace 2 to 3 weeks later, and what do I see? The same exact desk. And guess who's selling it? The same exact seller. So I immediately reached out to him. I'm like, hey, do you have this desk? He said, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you reached out to me. I have thousands of messages, but I didn't know which one you were, and I was hoping that you would reach out to me. Yes, I do have it, and I promise I'm gonna hold it for you. And he immediately put the listing on pending, right? Until I got out there the next day. And now I had some people that said to me, you know, Ty, if I were you, I would never have bought that desk for him. He played you, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but at the same time, it was a lesson in that. Sometimes we can't be so quick to give up and so quick to automatically write somebody off, you know, because then there's a blessing in that. I would have missed out, right? And so what did we do? We went out the very next day and we went to the warehouse, and it's the same exact desk. But
There's more.
there's more. So as we were taking the desk, I'm like, okay, yes, I'll purchase it from you. And believe it or not, this desk was actually $5 cheaper than the one that we purchased from him a few weeks prior. So as we were taking the desk and we're going to our vehicle to put it in, I noticed that it seemed a little wobbly. Something was off. And I'm like, wait a minute. Don't put that in the car. Flip this thing over. Let's double check it. And you could talk about what happened next.
Yeah, so as me and one of the gentlemen were bringing it up to the van, we noticed that the top, it was a glass top, and it was kind of like, it had some play to it. It wasn't sitting perfectly still. And so I looked underneath it and I saw that it had screws, but it wasn't screwed all the way in. So he was like, let me go get a screwdriver and we could just screw it in. So I got the screwdriver from him and I started to turn. I'm like, this ain't turning. You know what I mean? Even though it looked like the right size screw, it wasn't the right screw. It was some screws that somebody put in there.
I could tell they knew that.
Just to make the desk situation work. But we noticed that, nah, this ain't
Something's
good.
not right.
It's wobbly, and the only way that this is gonna work for us is if we had the right set of screws. They were the complete wrong
like nothing could
type
work.
of screws. And so he said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I should have checked that before I put it online. And so he was like, what if I cut the price in half?
Well, no, he actually said, because at that point I already paid him, he said, I can actually give you your money back, or I can just take 50% off and you can just have the desk. And so I'm like, wow. And as a matter of fact, he let me have the desk for $20, okay? And so I said, okay, I'm willing to take that risk because I know that you were gonna have to find the screws. And so he gave me $20 back and we put it in the car, and you went straight to Menards. You actually took your original desk that we purchased from him 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Took the right screw
out.
out.
Took the exact screw out, took it to the store, Home Depot or something like that.
I need 40.
And purchased it. The desk is pristine.
Cost $2.
$2. So here it is. There is a blessing in this chaos. You have to trust the process. Although your situation and although the outcome and although it may not look ideal, it may not be exactly what you want, but trust the process. Don't give up. If I would have given up and been so angry and just let my emotions take over and say, you know what, have your desk, I'm driving 50 minutes back home, and just be through with it, then I would have missed out on the exact blessing. And it was like God was trying to get something to us and not from us. So now we have 2 identical desks that we paid less than retail price for. If we were to go if we were to go purchase this desk, this is a $200 desk.
We paid less for 2 than 1 cost.
And when I tell you they're pristine, they look like they probably came from an office building that, I don't know, maybe they closed down or something like that, or remodeled or whatnot. And so there was a blessing. If we did not trust the process, we would not have been able to reap the benefits.
Yeah, but trusting the process, it's one of those things, those concepts that you hear and it's like, man, that sounds good, but then when you have to actually live it out,
it doesn't feel good.
When you have to walk that thing, it can be painful.
Yeah.
So painful that you are more prone to actually give up in the process. It's way easier to not trust the process than to trust it. What about you? Now, you heard our story, and it's good to hear how it ended. It had a great ending, and you may be like, yeah, man, that's awesome, but what about your money? What about your relationships? What about your health? Have there been some processes that you have started, but you didn't endure to the end, and thus you did not get the result that you could have gotten?
And I might say you have justification in order to give up. There are some times where it's okay to say, no, let me end this. And we could have very well justified, because you looked at me, you're like, babe, we don't have to buy this
100%.
desk. We can leave. And sometimes other people that are around you that mean well are really giving you good advice. They're not giving you wrong advice. You know what I mean? But now you're going to have to make the decision, stand short-footed and say, no, I'm going to trust the process. This is going to be a risk. I'm going to take the risk. And I was willing to take the risk and say, let's buy it. If we can't use it, we can always resell it.
Yeah.
Right?
And so for you, this is a lesson for you, because you want different, right? You have some goals, some ambitions, but man, it's going to take a process to get from where you are today to the finish line of that goal, of that process. And sometimes you just have to remember, one, why you started. Like,
That's true.
Go back in your mind to why. For us, it was, man, we want a fresh new look for our office. We're entering into a brand new season of our company, so let's just give it a fresh new look. And so that helped us to say, no, we'll get this desk and we'll make this work and we'll make this work. And in the end, it worked out. And even when we look in the Bible, it's easy to read through all these biblical narratives and see how the story ended and be like, wow, that's awesome. But you know, in between the start and the end point, there is an interim. And that is where you have to make the decision. Am I going to be in this thing to win it, or am I going to go back to where I came from? Think about King David. Do you realize that from the point that he was called, anointed, told he was the king, until the point where he actually became the king, that was a 19-year period. Yep. There were 20 chapters in the Bible in between the time he was anointed and the time he sat on the throne. It was a process. He had to endure a lot. He lost his best friend. His mentor tried to kill him. He had the opportunity to kill his mentor, but no, he trusted the process. He knew that God had him on a path and that he had to play his part. And if he played his part, God was going to do his part. And that's the same for you. Whatever it is you have your eye on, whatever it is in your heart as a desire, as an accomplishment that you want for yourself or for your family or for your legacy, it's going to be a process, but you have to endure the race until the end, trusting that the process is going to work because the process creator, our Heavenly Father, created the process for your good.
That's right, guys. Well, we want to hear from you. Leave us a comment in the comment section below and let us know what area in your life, what situation do you have right before you that you are now going to declare and say that I am going to trust the process. We want to stand in agreement with you in prayer in that area. And don't forget, don't give up. Trust the process. It doesn't feel good. It's going to be a long journey, but in the end, it will be worth it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, share it. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Sharing is caring. Also, we have a wonderful website with a ton of tools and resources over at hisandhermoney.com. And subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with any new notifications or videos. And don't forget to click that little bell on the side to receive a notification anytime we put one out.
That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.